Hello, hello. I I'm not sure that we have anybody in here yet. Wait, maybe we do. Let's see. Yes, we do.
I see Amy.
So this is Jeff from Cut and Make Crafts, and she is gonna teach you all about three SVG design mistakes. Um, tell them the title again. Three
Three
SVG.
SVG design mistakes to avoid in 2025.
All right. And I am gonna go off camera and let her do her thing.
Thank you so much, Jamila. Thanks for having me here. And I'm so excited to be a part of this event. So excited to meet everybody and see everybody in this live. Hello, I can see all the people popping up, joining in. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? I'm Jeff from Cut and Make Crafts. I share SVG design tips, SVG designs. I am a founder of the Summit, which is the Party and Business with Cricut and Gifts and Business with Cricut. I also teach SVG designing in my membership, uh, monthly membership, where I teach how to design SVGs in Affinity Designer. Hi, Dina. Hi, Lean. Hi, Shonda. Hi, Trena. Hi, Sherry. So I am here in Melbourne, Australia, and it is very cold here, as you guys might be wondering uh, from my attire. It is probably around 1 or 2 degrees right now, and it is 5 a.m. in the morning. So I just woke up. So let's get started. So let me know where you guys are tuning in from and what time it is at your side. I wonder if there are any more Aussies joining in today, right now. Or maybe if you're watching replay, just say hi. All right, so I selected this topic specially, which is three SVG business mistakes to avoid in 2025, because we have a lot of designers coming into the industry and wanting to sell their SVG designs. So I thought that this would be a nice little chat that we can have around selling, designing as well as selling SVGs, so that everybody can avoid these mistakes and set themselves up for success. All right. You're welcome, Amy. And yeah, it's pretty early in the morning, and because of the winter timings, it's really hard to get like a right appropriate time, which where it's like a sweet spot for everybody. But yeah, I usually wake up at 5 a.m. to go to work, so this is fine for me. All right, that's wonderful, Dina. I hope you had a lot of fun here in Melbourne. Great. So we have a lot of people from the States, Arkansas, UK. Somebody's from UK. All righty. So let me know how many of you guys have thought about designing SVGs. Just raise your hands in the comment section below. How many of you guys have designed SVGs or want to design SVGs? Yeah, it is a wonderful weather here. You get to be in the warm, cozy heater. So the one of the reasons that so before we proceed, just wanted to let you guys know that you can always ask questions in the comments section, and I can share all of uh, my feedback and my opinions with you guys here, and uh, and I can help you guys if you have any questions regarding selling SVG files. I have had my students design and sell SVGs, even if they have never done it before. They come into my program, and within 2 weeks, they are creating beautiful designs, and within a couple of weeks, they are creating their shops to sell their designs and actually making an income from their SVGs. And I've done another presentation in this summit where I show you guys how one of my students made $84 from her brand new store within 2 days of launching her store. So I can see a lot of hands in the comment section, which is awesome. A lot of people have want to design SVGs, have designed SVGs, which is awesome. So I'm going to share 3 mistakes to avoid designing SVGs. To avoid when designing SVGs. And some of these mistakes are very, very crucial. It's very important to take note of them because it eventually will affect your machine and it will affect the materials that you're using. So there, if we're not careful about that, then we end up losing a lot of money by just using SVGs that are not good and making mistakes related to SVGs. So I'm gonna jump straight in, and the first one that I have here is it might be very controversial, but I'm gonna explain myself, so just bear with me. All right, so the first one is using AI generated SVGs. I know AI is becoming very popular in the crafting industry, and I've seen multiple videos on YouTube sharing how to use how to generate SVGs via AI, via Canva AI or Adobe AI. There are tons and tons of tutorials out there which are showing you how to use AI generated SVGs. So let me be clear. I am not against AI. All right. I'm not against it. It's a very helpful tool. It is amazing. But with every tool, there comes certain kind of rules and regulations that you need to follow when you are designing SVGs. So I am why did I bring this up using AI generated SVGs? So what is actually the problem with AI generated SVGs? So what the thing is, when you generate SVGs using AI and you do not have any control over it, you're just entering the prompt into the software, AI software, and it is giving you a something it made on its own, what it thinks it is, and it gives you this file. But if you look at the quality of the file, it is not good enough for cutting on the machine. So I've done this test. I've gone to multiple websites. I generated an SVG on Canva. Then I generated an SVG using one of the another software, which is coming up which is becoming quite popular these days for generating SVGs. And so I compared them, and then I created my own SVG, the same SVG in my vector software, in a graphic design software, which is meant for designing graphics. So I compared them all, and the quality that you get from these AI generated SVGs is not at all as good as what you get when you make a custom SVG on a design software. So when I was working with Cricut, so uh, when I launched my shop, Cricut reached out to me because they loved my design so much. They reached out to me and they asked me to design SVGs for Cricut Design Space. So it was a brilliant opportunity and I learned a lot. And one of the things that they mentioned very clearly in their rules and regulations is the SVG needs to be a very high quality. And what does a high quality SVG mean? It means it should have as less number of nodes as possible. So nodes are something like dots. So let me just open up my software and show you guys what are nodes. So nodes are like tiny dots on your design, and it guides the machine on where to cut. So the more number of nodes you have, the more your machine has to work on it. So that's why what the main thing they mentioned to me was to keep the number of nodes very low as possible, as low as I could make it. So and when you generate an SVG on a software, then you don't get that freedom to control the number of nodes you have in your design. So let me share my screen. I wonder if I can show you guys. Let me share my entire screen. So let me know if you guys can see my screen, and then I will pull up my design software and show you guys what I mean by nodes. So what happens is when you create an AI generated SVG, it comes with millions of nodes, and this makes it really hard for the machine to cut it out. And it generates, the machine has to do a lot of extra work. So you are putting your machine into overload. Plus, it also ruins the material, because the more the number of nodes is, yep, exactly. That's correct, Mary. Lesser the number of nodes, the cleaner your cuts will be. So let me know if you guys can see my screen for a bit, and then I will pop it back down so I can see your comments. Let me change the color of this square. All right. Not seeing a screen. Alrighty, I don't know what's going on. Uh, let me see what I can do here. Let me know if you guys can see for a bit. Okay, never mind. I'm not sure what settings I need to use. Anyway, so I'll post a picture in the group showing, highlighting what nodes are. So nodes are like small dots on your SVGs that help in designing your SVGs. And and the nodes give you a lot of freedom to change the structure, to change the design of your SVGs. And it's if you can learn how to work with nodes in an illustration software, in a design software, then you get to really create literally anything that you can think of. It will give you a lot of freedom to create designs from scratch, in bring your ideas to life. But once you learn how to manipulate nodes, how to control the nodes, um, and this will also give you the ability to uh, transform the SVGs that you generate via AI. So you can generate an SVG via AI, but then you have to bring it into the illustration software to clean it up, to clean up all the nodes, all the excessive nodes, and make the nodes as less as possible, so that it is easier on the machine and the machine does not go in an overload. So that is the most important thing that we need to remember. We need to think about when we are designing and selling SVGs, especially when we are selling SVG cut files. Yes, Sandy, that's a very good description of nodes. So this is one thing that you need to keep in mind. And there is another way of using AI generated SVGs. So what I like to do is whenever I have an idea in my design, in my mind, for a design, I type into the prompt on let's say Facebook. I really like the graphics that Facebook generates. So um, Facebook or even Microsoft graphics are pretty good. So what I do is I actually just type in my idea, and then I use the AI prompt to further polish my idea, and then I ask it to generate a flat file, a PNG or a JPEG image file. Sorry, I do not ask it to generate an SVG file. I ask it to generate a plain cartoon like image, and then I use that. So that will give me a good image of what it helps me in picturing my thoughts, my ideas. And then I take that and create that into turn that into a 3D SVG design. So I've done that for multi-layered shadow boxes. I've done that for cake toppers, and right now most of my designs are created by my designer. So I just generate the idea that I have, and then I give that to my designer to create an SVG based on that design. And she's very good. She makes exactly what I give her. She's very good at uh, replicating those ideas that are generated by AI. So when you do that, you have full control over the quality of your design because you have created that design from scratch. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind. And I've come across shops that do not take these things into consideration, and it's not their fault because all of this is there is so much push about selling AI generated SVGs on YouTube that people think that that is the best way to go for it. But these videos or these kind of push is coming from people who do not have mostly do not have experience in using SVGs with their Cricut. But as a crafter, as somebody who has been using Cricut for almost every day for the last 7 years, or somebody who is experienced in the Cricut space, they know that they understand that a Cricut needs a very good quality SVG, or else it's not gonna cut out perfectly. I mean, how many people here have experienced ripping of materials? How many of people have lost materials because it wasn't getting cut properly on your machine? It was getting stuck on your machine. Materials were just getting jammed, or your paper was ripping apart. How many times have we experienced that? And it always happens because most of the times the design is not a high quality design, and there are shops which are selling these without even knowing what goes into creating a high quality SVGs, which will give you a very smooth butter like cutting experience. Yes, I can see a lot of hands in the chat about ripping off materials because this has happened to everyone. Anyone who has used the Cricut. I've also gone through that phase. I mean, every now and then, every couple of days, I have run into that problem. So it is a very common problem, and it mostly happens because the nodes are very close together and the machine has to go into very precise tiny corners, which it can't, because after all, by the end of the day, it is a machine, and it has a certain what do you say, it has certain limits. You can't push it beyond that limit, right? So that is my thing about using AI generated SVGs. Make sure if you are using AI generated SVGs, make sure you clean them up, you reduce the number of notes before you sell them, before you use them with your machine. That's one thing. So this goes this this first mistake applies to anybody who is working with SVGs, who is designing SVGs, who is selling SVGs. uh so it's for everybody. Now the second mistake and the third mistake is especially for those people who want to sell their SVG designs. Yes, Kathy, I can definitely agree with that. You have to, uh, sometimes you have to just be your own boss and fix the SVG before you cut it so that it comes out smoothly. It cuts smoothly. All right. So who's ready for the second and the third mistake? Before I share the second and third mistake, how many people here are interested in selling their SVG designs? How many people are currently selling their SVG designs? Just raise your hands in the comment section. Let's see. All right. So the second mistake is not building an email list. Now, this is something I've seen. It is very common in the industry. People come in and they open their shop, and that's it. They upload a couple of designs, and that's it. They just wait for the sales to come in, and they just wait and wait and wait. Yes, I can see a lot of hands in the comment section. Cheryl, just making for myself. Sandy says, just making for myself. Donna, Miss Ellen, Terry, Trina. Awesome. All righty. Amy also says, and Devlin. All righty. So those who are interested in selling SVGs, please take this note. Please start an email list. So this is something that I highly uh, put emphasis on in my membership, in my SVG business membership. You need to have an email list. Your email list is your gold mine, and you need to start building your email list even before you create your shop, because your email let me give you an example. So your email list is something you own. Your Facebook page is owned by Facebook. Your Instagram page is owned by Instagram. um, Pinterest, your Pinterest page is owned by Pinterest. So YouTube is owned by YouTube. So if they can change their policy anytime, and they can remove your page from their website. And once, and it has happened, Etsy. How can I forget Etsy? You don't own the entire shop on Etsy. It is just hosted on the platform, and they can remove your shop from their platform whenever they want. And this has happened to a lot of people. Sometimes haters report the designs, and the shops get shut down. And I've seen this happen to very established shops that have been running for years and years, and suddenly they get shut down because of some policy change or something, right? I'm sure those who are in the handmade space have maybe heard this story once or twice in their um, in their time in the handmade space, like shops getting shut down a lot. This has happened a lot of times. So that's the thing. When your shop gets shut down, how do you contact your customers? How do you interact with your customers? with And that is why it is so important to have an email list even before you launch your shop. So this goes out to anybody who is currently thinking about selling SVGs. Before you start selling SVGs, if you start building your email list, once you reach to the point of selling your designs, it gets 10 times easier to start making instant income from your SVG designs. So what I like to do, so I have an email list of about 40K crafters. And what I do is I like to feature my students shop in my newsletter. So this helps them in getting instant sales right after launching their stores. So this is how a lot of my students made money from SVGs right after opening their stores. They would get like 20 sales. One of my students got around 200 sales in 2 weeks, within 2 weeks of launching her store. And the case study that I've shared in one of my in the video in the workshop, in my workshop for this summit, how my student made $84 from her brand new store. And that's also because I featured her shop in my newsletter. So when I had a pre-built audience in my email list to whom I can just send out an announcement that this is a new shop, or I have created a new SVG, or I am sharing some free SVG, and once I share it with them, they buy it, and I get instant sales, instant income from my email list. So the number one reason is you own your email list and nobody can take it away from you. And it gets very, very easy to start making income from SVGs if you have a pre-built email list with your audience. So this is something I highly, highly emphasize on in my SVG membership program. And I have a proper laid out step-by-step course on how to start your email list to get people to buy your SVG cut files. And you get all the steps on how to create everything that goes into email marketing, because it is a very complex strategy. There's multi layers involved. You got to create your freebie. You got to create a page where people can come in and enter their email addresses to get the freebie, and then you got to host the freebie, and then you have a sequence of emails that goes out automatically to people, uh, uh, warming them up for your designs, regarding your design. So it's a step-by-step process, and it can get very complex if you're just starting out, which is why I have a step-by-step program in my membership that you can utilize to create your own email list. And with I hear this thing a lot, like SVG market is so saturated, um, and there's no room for new designers, blah blah blah. But I will highly disagree. If you are selling the right types of SVGs, and if you're doing it the right way, which is using an email list, building an audience, then you are one step ahead than the majority of people who are coming into the industry. So you just gotta do it in you got to be more sophisticated now. Even though there are people coming into the industry, a lot of them are making all of these mistakes. And if you can avoid these mistakes, you have chances of growing in the industry. So I stepped into designing SVG cut files back in 2019, when I got my Cricut. Actually got in 2018, and then that's when I started designing SVGs. And I started by giving away free SVG cut files to people. For like a year, I gave away free SVG cut files, and then I launched my store, and I shared my designs with my email list. And within 1 month, within a couple of days, I made around $1,500 from my brand new store. I've shared the graphics on one of my page. If you go there, you'll find it. In within a couple of days of when I launched my store, I got 1,500. I made 1,500 US dollars from my store, and I was so excited because I launched my store as a test. I wanted to test it out, and I was so excited when I made that much money in just a small amount of time. And now my entire business runs on SVGs, and I'm able to make a 5 to 6 figures just from SVGs by in different ways, by teaching people how to create SVGs, by showing people how to use SVGs to create projects, by sharing tutorials, different types of tutorials, and it just builds on to one onto each other. And so that's the thing. And even if you look at the case study that I've shared in my workshop, it is also based on email marketing. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to stand out from the crowd, and if you're thinking the market is too saturated, or you don't have a room to grow, try these strategies that I'm suggesting. Avoid these mistakes, and trust me, you will be well ahead of the crowd. All right, so that was the mistake number 2. Now, mistake number 3. This is again very common, and this also applies to those who want to sell SVG designs. The third mistake that I've seen is selling simple SVG cut files. You have no idea how many students came to me. They started creating simple SVGs, like a single layered SVG. They uploaded it on their store. They waited for, they got like 2 to 3 sales. They waited for 6 months, made around 12 sales, got really frustrated, and then they came to me saying that, oh, SVGs don't make money. My SVG shop has been just sitting there for so long. I don't know what to do. And they got into my program. They started, they went through my videos step by step, and they started creating complex SVGs based on the trends that are common in the SVG market right now. SVGs that people actually want to buy, SVGs that people cannot create themselves. Now, think about this. We are all crafters. We all love DIYing, right? And everybody has access to all of these tools, all of these AI generated tools that are out there. So let me take an example of Design Space. So Design Space has introduced a lot of new tools that make it very easy to customize a text-based design, and to create a text-based design in Design Space. You have like a curve feature. You have a feature to, you get a tons of different fonts. You have a feature to separate out your letters in Design Space. So they give you a lot of different tools to create your own text-based design, a really nice text-based design inside of Design Space. Now, any crafter who has a little bit of knowledge of using Design Space can go in and create a text-based SVG design. So let's say a design for happy anniversary. Anybody can create that in Design Space. And then I go on to Etsy, and I see and I see shops selling happy anniversary text-based design in their shop. Obviously, no one's gonna buy that because they can make their own designs. And with these sophisticated AI tools, anybody can just go in, type a prompt, and generate a single layered basic SVG cut file. So they don't need to go and shop on Etsy for those single layered simple SVG cut file. They can just generate it on their own and use it in their design. So if so anybody who is selling those simple designs is at a loss. First of all, you got to sell it at a very low price, which is uh, uh, 50 cents or a dollar. I've seen this in a lot of shops. That's what they do. They sell these AI generated designs or very simple basic designs for a couple of cents or less than $2. And so you cannot really make a substantial income if you're selling at such a low price. That's one big problem. I tell my designers to who go at least for $5 these days for a good design. And by good design, I mean something that people would actually pay for, something that requires multiple hours to create, like a 3D multi-layered design or a paper flower or a cake topper design. So I have students who are generating consistent monthly income by selling all of these complex SVG designs that are multi-layered. One of my students does cake toppers, and she also does paper flower SVG cut files. Another one does cards, complex cards, trifold card, bifold card, money cards where you can insert money into it. Uh, so these are the types of SVGs that people would actually pay for. They're willing to pay for they're willing to pay $5 to $10. I have sold SVGs with tutorials for up to $9. Sometimes I sell in a bundle for $47. So these are the ways, these are the types of SVGs that are in demand that people would actually pay for. I just did a summit a couple of days ago uh, for party and business with Cricket, where I taught people how to make party crafts, favor boxes, a car crayon favor box, which was quite a hit. And I'm sure there are some people, if Ruth is here, Ruth created that car crayon box. And then I created a rainbow favor box, rainbow cake topper. So these are the things that are people interested in, instead of a simple, very basic single layered SVG design. So if you create those kind of designs, I can vouch that you will definitely see some success in your SVG business. And you can even have a look at so I've done a couple of case study podcasts with my students, and if you go to my podcast, you can see, you can listen to their interview, and you can visit their shops to see the designs that they are selling, which helped them in succeeding in the SVG business realm. So these are the three mistakes that I wanted to share, especially for designers who are entering the industry right now. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments section. I'm also going to be in the group for you guys to ask questions and get your questions answered, get clarification on whether you want to sell SVGs, whether you want to design SVGs. So feel free to post your questions in the comment section. Hi, Jamila.
Hi. We're just
So,
waiting on questions. I'm gonna scroll through and see if we missed anything. Any questions?
yep, that was a very good live. Everybody was pretty engaged. I
Yeah.
had quite a lot of fun. So
What
let me
time
know
is
if
it right now? Your time, Jeff?
It is 5:40 a.m.
Oh goodness.
I'm
You're a
surprised.
trooper.
Pardon?
I said you're a trooper. I'm just rolling
Yeah.
over at 5:40 a.m.
I usually wake up at 5 for work, catch the
Okay.
early train. Yeah.
I wish I could get myself up, but I stay up. I Late nights is the quietest time in my house. There are three teenage girls, 13, 14, and 15. And then there's my
Well,
husband. And yeah, so that's where I get peace. Is at the in the middle of the night. I'm not
cool.
seeing any
Yeah.
questions.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you found it helpful. That's good to know, Devlin.
Um, I can update. I'll update the description with the link to your. Oh, what was it?
Podcast.
Yeah, you can send me the link to your podcast, but also the promo, the thing that you're promoting. I can't
Right.
think off the top of my head what it was.
The freebie, the
Yes, the
SVG
freebie.
business cheat sheet.
Yes,
Yeah,
SVG business cheat sheet. I will link both of those in the description, both on YouTube and on Facebook.
awesome. All right, I can see some questions. Um, Amy says she will catch me in the group. Awesome, Amy. I look forward to answering your question. Mary says, what was the third tip? The third mistake to avoid is to sell simple SVGs. Avoid selling simple SVGs. Aim for complex 3D multi-layered SVG type SVG files that people are interested in buying. What is the best program to make SVGs with? That is a wonderful question, and it depends on your personal preferences. So, so there are different categories of software. There are AI generated software like Canva or uh, or I don't know, ChatGPT for generating SVGs in a SVG format, and then there is graphic design software. So I am in the graphic design software group or both. You can say that is what I suggest people learn, a graphic design and a graphic design software. Learn to use a graphic design software so you can make good quality SVGs. Now, in the graphic design software, you have a couple of different choices. You've got Affinity Designer, which is what I use. I've been using for more than 10 years. And then you've got Adobe Illustrator, and you also have Canva. Sorry, not Canva, Inkscape. I have used Inkscape and Adobe Illustrator. I did not like Inkscape. It's just a personal choice. A lot of people swear by it. That's fair and good. Um, uh, if you like it, use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. And then you have Adobe Illustrator. I was using Adobe Illustrator for a very long time until they started their subscription service. And back then, I was a student. I couldn't afford to pay subscription, so I searched high and low, and I found Affinity Designer, which was a one-time purchase, one-time payment of around $50. And I've been using Affinity Designer since then, and that's what I recommend my students. Um, I love the software because it has lots of tools and techniques to which is especially great for beginners. So uh, that's my personal preference, but you can definitely try out what works best for you, what software you like, what interface you like, and go with that. The good thing is we have instructors available for all these three software. You can get help for all these three different software. If you want to use Affinity, you can come to me. If you want to use Adobe Illustrator, you can find somebody I think Jamela, yes, Jamela will teach you how to use Adobe Illustrator. She's the expert in that. And if you want to use Inkscape, you can find somebody for that as well. All righty. Next question. When creating an SVG for a card project, should it be made at a larger size or however big your card is going to be? So, what I like to do is I design my SVGs in the size that they are supposed to be cut in. So, for example, if it is a card, so I will design it in 8 by 6 inch, because that's where how I want it to be cut. Eight on an 8 by 6 inch paper, because it gives me a good idea on how intricate my design is going to be. Because if you're creating a very large design, and if you have intricate details in it, if it's very large, it's not going to be so intricate. But if you shrink that design, the details are going to become really close together and it's not going to cut properly. So I highly recommend making your project the exact same size that it's going to be cut in, because it will give you a good idea of the intricacy of design that you can include in your project. All righty.
I'm going to address Lucille's question. You're going to email help@jamilapayne.com and I can help you with the summit. And now you can answer Colorado.
Thank you. Colorado said love Affinity as well. I use the iPad version as well, so I can see things on a large scale. Yes, I highly recommend it. That's a good decision. That's a great approach. Alrighty. So I think those are the questions, and that's it from me. Any other questions, just post them in the group and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you're interested in learning about my membership, you can visit my website, cutandmakecrafts.com. I also have a freebie, which is the SVG business cheat sheet for anybody who is interested in selling SVGs. Jamela is going to send you the link for it. Stay tuned.
I'll, I'll
Thank
put
you so
everything in the description of this video so that you can find it. Give me about 15 or 20 minutes to get it in there and I'll get it in there. But thank you,
Awesome.
Jeff, for doing this.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me and thank you for providing this platform. That was wonderful. It was so fun doing this live and interacting with everybody and seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.